Today, Precarious plays
Hades. Alright, okay, it's fine. Haven't played in a while.
Far be it from me to raise my hand against your father, dear nephew. Although I do suppose old Hades has it coming, doesn't he?
Great.
So what starting weapon did you pick? Like, what is your beginning? You know how, like, you pick a weapon and then you pick a style for that weapon and then that's how you start the run? What did you pick?
I picked the Shield of Chaos and I picked the Aspect of Zeus because it's another one that I'm comfortable with, and it's been a while since I played. I'm a little worried that I'm gonna beef it. What?
Just beef it, bork it, bark it, bite it,
Pooch it.
pooch it. It's like that awful Simon Says toy. Did you ever play with one of those?
Yes, actually. But it was a Simon Says pocket.
No, I played with like a real.
It was like a tiny little. Well, I mean, they were functionally same as far as I'm aware. It's just like scale.
Yeah.
It was a Simon Says that you could fit in. Well, hypothetically, you could fit. Like my parents could fit it in their pocket.
Yeah.
I was so young that my pockets were still baby sized.
I remember when they would say it's the Game Boy Pocket, and it's like, you definitely need 90s pants and a backpack. You need a fanny pack. That's the pocket they were talking about.
No, the Game Boy Color and the Game Boy Pocket were actually quite small. I mean, the Game Boy SP, whenever it was folded.
That was actually pocket sized.
Yeah, and especially the Micro. Do you remember that? Do you remember the Game Boy Advance?
Yeah, the Micro. I never got one. Because,
why would you?
Well, if I hadn't had an SP, I might have.
It was sort of cute. It was a novelty because it was barely bigger than the cartridge.
You know what I'm really disappointed in?
Game Boy Advance Micro?
No. I didn't have a chance to get disappointed in. I'm disappointed in cell phone games not just being... Okay, with some exceptions. I thought that they were just gonna port all my favorite games to cell phone, and that I would just be able to play all of these things on a cell phone, but like cell phone gaming is very different now. And I don't like the controls. I don't like any of the controls. I don't understand why they're not as responsive. I mean, I guess I do because it's not... The inputs are not as simple as pressing a button. There's like different states and everything is touchable, so it must be a little bit harder, but I just don't like it. And they do sell things that you can slot your phone into, but at that point, just buy a Game Boy Micro, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Find one, dig one up.
Hey, lads.
How are we doing on this run so far? Are you happy with what you found at first?
Yeah, so the goal for this weapon, there are probably more effective uses of it, but I do appreciate the fact that this is the Zeus version of this weapon, and it works pretty well with Zeus's boons, which is not always the case.
That's what you get.
So I should explain what's special about this weapon. Oh, now they're all epic. Cool. So your lightning effects. Yes. So
Shocking.
the special effect of this weapon is it's the shield throw is replaced with a disc. You see that gets pulsing brightly? Every one of those is a hit. And with Zeus's special boon, it will cause lightning strikes for every one of those pulses. And it's really interesting. It's a lot of fun to play with because like you can throw it out and then move over here and then have it return to you. You can also do one of these where like you have it follow you around for a bit through a crowd of enemies like this. You just sort of play keep away with your own shield.
Yeah.
And also you can attack normally. So this is another good one. You can throw it past an enemy and then shield bash them along with it. Mm-hmm. But it can be quite effective. I think that generally speaking, I would say that there are very broadly two kinds of boons, like offensive boons. There are ones that work well for big hits. Wait, no, what am I saying? I would actually say that there are three kinds of attack boons. There are ones that work well when you hit rapidly, ones that work well for big individual hits, and then ones that don't care. They're always good, right?
Yeah.
Gods grant me strength.
So I would probably categorize. I would categorize Artemis's powers, for example, as one that just always works well because it's just critical damage, and
Hello, sir.
you'll get more crits if you're hitting more rapidly. But they are devastating whenever you do get a crit with a big weapon, you know? So it always just feels kind of nice, no matter what.
I have to thank you, Sisyphus. Not just for all the help you've given me time after time, but for encouraging me to have a chat with Boldy there. I dare say I feel a little more at peace of late, and maybe it's thanks to him.
He's a good one, all right, isn't he? Though if you've come to such an understanding with old Boldy there, why, it must mean you've done some growing on your own as well, I think.
Okay.
I got you covered.
Thank you, mate. Boldy, how do you handle being trapped in Tartarus for all eternity, doomed to be pushed up and down a hill repeatedly for no good reason?
Wisdom.
I really love Boldy's face.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's slightly spooky, but mostly charming. It reminds me of a Goron.
You're always here for me, Boldy. Cheers.
Like the angle that you see the big Goron from, especially. And those weird little burp noises that they make.
The hearts keep going up, and I don't know what am I doing with them.
The hearts?
Yeah.
Shit. Oh, now might not be a good time.
No, it's fine. What you need?
It looks really intense.
Made them mad.
The hearts. We were getting ready to play, and you were talking about how you're sort of at what feels like the end point of a game that has a million ends, you know? Mm-hmm. And you were talking about like the relationship system. So maybe you can tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I was telling you how I was really close to cheating.
Yeah. I was like, well, don't do that yet. I mean...
Well, not frivolously, not for no reason at all. So I have gotten a little...
Like, we haven't talked about the relationship system really at all.
Here's the
Work
thing.
faster next time.
This game, because I've beaten the story, and the thing that I'm kind of waiting on, Persephone and presumably Hades' plan to smooth things over with Olympus,
Yeah.
sort of revealing that she's still alive and that she's just still in the world,
Yeah.
and that her mother doesn't need to freeze all the mortals to death in her anguish. I'm waiting for that to be resolved, but because it's effectively bonus, like it's bonus content,
Yeah.
they can kind of make the requirements as obscure as they want. And like I've got some ideas, because maybe it's something sort of mundane, like maybe it's just based on the number of runs you do after Persephone has come back, you know?
Yeah.
Or maybe it's like it talks about friendship, but as I pointed out before, I've got everybody, all of the Olympian gods, they're as friendly as I can be with them without finding a way to break those locks. And that's what
Yeah.
I'm wondering. Like, maybe, just as an example, maybe you can only break the lock on Zeus and Demeter because they're sort of like the focus of this. Like they're the ones that would... Zeus would be in trouble and Demeter would be the one that he would be in trouble with.
Yeah.
Maybe you have to have both of them together, right? Mm-hmm. Like maybe you need to have their boons and maybe you need to go into one of the chambers where like you have to choose between them. Like it could be something that specific, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm pretty close to just checking it because I would like to see what it is for myself.
Mm-hmm. Because all of the discoveries in this game have been pretty great, right?
Yeah.
Like it's really sweet.
But I've done so many runs that I'm not sure if it's something that's based on a number of runs, then I think they pushed too hard. Because I would say that I'm a bit of an avid fan, but I've still I'm getting a little weary. Mm-hmm. Having that carrot dangled in like it's not like the carrot is being dangled in front of me. It's a carrot in complete darkness. I don't know. I can smell carrot.
A friend of mine told me there was a carrot in here.
Yeah, I've got a book that prophesizes a carrot.
Someone said there's cake in the break room, but the break room's in the other building.
They said it's in the other building. I thought we only had one building, so I think they just mean it's in a building somewhere in the world.
Good enough
Yeah.
to eat.
It takes a lot to wear you out on a game that you like. Have you played anything since this game that you're happy with? That you're this happy with? Is this still like your favorite game of the year?
Do I wanna poop? I mean, I'm pretty happy with Minish Cap, but I don't know. I've got an interesting story about that. I need to think if I want... Yeah, because I might get the Flood Shot, which is fine. Ooh, but Poseidon's Aid is one of my favorite calls, so I'll get that instead. Mm-hmm. So, what's going on? Oh,
Hello, Fury Sisters.
hold on. Wait a second. I don't understand why the Steam Link does this sometimes. Let's stop here because our Steam Link just dropped the connection.
Okay.